Hey everyone, this is Old, and today I thought it would be interesting to go through all of the maps that Cracco and I made over 2024. Seeing as this is the last day in 2024, it would be good to just do a little retrospective. We've made, or finished, I should say, 15 maps over the year, and I want to start off with the first one, which we worked on, which was a collaboration with Bobblen in the entryway, or L111 entrance of the AvP Trilogy map. What we did was we converted it into a deathmatch and co-op map. So I'm going to show you some of the new things here. There's a single-player version of this which was released last year, and this is essentially the starting point for the Marine in the single-player portion. And what we did was, in order to make this traversable for the alien, we had to make all these wires up top here intangible. That was one thing that we did. And then also, if you notice over here, this is how this texture looks in AvP Trilogy, and to make it more interesting for adding areas for the alien to kind of run around and hide up above, as is pretty usual in AvP Classic maps. We have these as, oops, I didn't jump into it correctly, but you can jump into it and traverse a whole separate section of the map up here, which I created. I designed this whole thing. It's basically just the same layout up above. You can just drop down whenever you want. Now there are certain textures over here which are closed vent textures, so you can't go through them, but the ones that are not like that, like this, you can go through. This is just a very short one, but I'll show you a more effective one is over here. So in order to, let's say someone's facing this way or someone coming over here, they're kind of camping there, or you can get behind them by going through, and, or maybe not. I don't know what that was. Did I just do that, what I just said? Yeah, I did. Okay. And anyway, another thing, oh yeah, this one's a more extensive one. It goes like this, and then the one across from it goes and connects a different portion of the map. Like that. So it's anyone can get in, any species can get in here. Only the alien should really be able to get in here. So we have different weapons around for the deathmatch version, and then you can hear there's a minigun, whereas in the single player version of the map it's just the ending. So, and then of course aliens spawn like crazy in co-op mode. There are weapons just here and there. All of these are open. You don't need to, we still kept the explosive barrels, but you still have to use the switches for this, but it's very easy. And there's a grenade launcher up here. Okay, so that takes care of the first map, which was really just an extension of the map that that Bobblen and I primarily worked on last year. So let's go take a look at the second map. All right, the second map is one that you probably had no idea existed, or had no intention of knowing, or probably don't want to know. Well, here it is. Here's Goatsy. This is a map that I released on April Fool's Day. The geometry and texturing was originally done in the Quake engine by XStephX, and she graciously allowed me to port it to this game. Not going to show all the secrets here, but obviously this is one that everyone's going to find. So this one is just a little booster up here. It's obviously best for the Marine and Predator to gain access to this. I think this is the only orb in the entire map, so actually need to access that. And then over here there's some other stuff. This is originally based on a different a Quake, like a screenshot or two of a Quake map called Goatsy that I don't know if it was ever released or not. And there's actually more to this map, but I don't want to get struck by YouTube, so you can explore for yourself what's down there. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next map. Alright, the next map that we have is Block Fort, and this is a rendition of the Block Fort map that is a Mario Kart. So, yeah. Remember, this is a balloon arena. If you've never played it, you're driving the cart, and basically you have to use these pickups that you collect on the paths over here to get rid of or to hit your enemies. Over here, it's very open, very advantageous for the Marine because you can see almost everything, but the alien can move really fast. Some pickups here and there. Very bright, very cartoonish, very colorful with primary colors, and essentially is a fantastic contrast to the previous map. So I like to do things kind of in contrasts. You know, have like a very dark, gritty, and dingy map, and then have a very bright and colorful map and cartoonish map to contrast it. Okay, so that's the third map. The next map that we have here is Ice Station Zeta, which is a port of an Unreal Tournament map. This is really the only part of the map that I don't like how the lighting turned out. There was really no way to fix this, but it's kind of the ugliest part of the map, unfortunately. Everything else is better looking than that. I think this is a great map for AvP, actually. Very corridor heavy, mid-sized corridors, industrial kind of tech feel, but it also has this snow and kind of view of an outside area that you don't see very much. And so again, this industrial stuff, there's some lifts over here that work, some doors, plenty of space. It's kind of like Jockey in a way, except it's not as big as Jockey and doesn't have field charge orbs everywhere. So it would be good for a large number of players. It's very hectic in Unreal Tournament, and it would be very hectic in this game too. But that kind of frenetic and fast energy is kind of dispersed throughout the kind of the size of this map, which is fairly big. And I'm not going to show you where any secrets are. You'll have to find them yourself, or if you know where they are already, then you'll just have to uncover them. Anyway, so that's the fourth map. Alright, the fifth map, I shouldn't really be loading it in Deathmatch, but I feel like doing it so anyway. This is Bobblen's baby. This is the port of Sublevel 3
What on earth got a hold of this guy?
For AvP Jag to AvP. So this was made as a single player map, so some of the things might not work, like for instance that doesn't work until we hit the switch over here. Open this over here, and this opens the rest of the map. So essentially now we are at the juncture where the whole map sort of opens up here, and it's kind of a maze. It's pretty easy to get lost. If you get lost, you can always, I guess, look up a walkthrough for, a game that's like 30 years old. AvP Jag was released in '94, I think, and or you can just see this over here if I need. Anyway, this is not for deathmatch or for co-op. This is only for single-player mode. And as I mentioned before, this is really the birthchild of Bobblen, but Cracco and I worked on this with him as well to get things like the doors functioning and like the hex doors, so it's kind of nice. And getting the models to look good, getting these sprites to, they're not actually sprites, but they look like sprites. It was fun to do. It's a lot of, I don't want to say fakery, but a lot of tricks. When we are making these more complex maps, we know a lot of tricks to make the maps look good. One of the things that we're a little disappointed with is the lighting. Everything looks like it's totally full bright. Unfortunately, there's no way to really get the fog effect. This one's not going to open because I haven't done the thing yet. But anyway, at a certain point, we were discussing making the entirety of the Marine levels because they all kind of interconnect via these vents. But yeah, I don't want to. And some doors are open already. This would take you into a vent, for instance. But anyway, I don't want to spoil anything. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So that's a fun single player level. It's pretty hard, so I would recommend doing it on training at first, so you get your bearings. And yeah, anyway, I'll move on to the next one. Alright, the next map is AvP 2 Outpost 4. So this is a port of, obviously, Outpost 4, the AvP 2 map, to AvP Classic, which I think worked out very well. Now, very recently, as in yesterday, I swapped out the power loader model for the AvP 2 one. So we have a bit of a new technique and a new trick for getting some AvP 2 models. So I also did the same thing with the welding mask, the oxygen tank, and the power generator over here. I'm trying to think if there's another one. Nope, that was it. There was one. But anyway, this should play pretty much like the AvP 2 map, except faster, and I would expect there to be a lot more deaths than in the AvP 2 map, because in AvP 2 everything's a little bit slower, so it doesn't take you, you can't get through this little tunnel as quickly as you can in AvP Classic. Over here there's something for the Marine, and otherwise it's we tried to make this as faithful to AvP 2 as possible. Obviously there are some things we just can't do, but for instance we even have these security cameras that are looking around. And yeah, overall I'm very happy with the way it looks. I'm very happy with the size and the scale of the map, where the pickups are distributed. And I think this is a fun map. And one of the things that was really fun to do was I had to make the fragments for the glass, and I decided to go all out and make it just shatter like crazy. That's a lot of frags, by the way, for painted glass. So it's hopefully you like the way it looks. So let's move on to the next map. All right, so the next 3 maps are kind of like a triple feature. They're all related. This one is called Lab 15. Now, this was an idea that I had, which was to remake Lab 14, which is a stock AvP map, in the style of the Alien level Escape. So, if you didn't know, Lab 14 is created out of these out of the geometry of Escape. They're called modules. So if basically like they're basically like rooms. Like let's say this whole section over here was like one module, right, from the ground up. I think it might actually be one whole module, but anyway, it's like this over here is like one module from the game. Now in Escape there's a wall here, but it's opened up in Lab 14. So it's like all those, you can see especially the influence of Escape in this, because everything is textured. I didn't texture this map. I literally took the same modules from Escape as they were in Escape, and I arranged them in the same configuration that they were in Lab 14. So it may seem like a reskin, but then there are some things like over here you can see that, like the locker room with the toilets, like they removed the toilets for this, but this is kind of like a look into how the map was actually created in a way. But so it sort of functions as like a reskin, but it actually wasn't reskinned. So where this gets taken to a new level is, I'm gonna skip ahead. So I'm skipping ahead here to a map called Lab 17. So Lab 17, as you can see, I'm running back over here to make it part of the area that we've seen before, but it has an entirely new section over here, an entirely new second half. I would say there's actually more. We've increased the size of the map by more than more than double. So these are parts of Escape that of course weren't used in Lab 14 or Lab 15, and it creates an entire separate section off to the side of Lab 14 or Lab 15 over here. So we've got bathrooms, we've got a little transitionary station over here, the desk and monitor. We've got an upper catwalk leading into a vent on that side, a vent on that side, a vent on that side, and this finally connects over to a vent over there. There's this section here. There's another catwalk over here. Here's some field charge. So essentially, instead of being really cramped and stuck to avoiding all these obnoxious little railings, I mean, there's some of it here, but not much. This opens up, so I think a lot more action can happen in a little bit more open space. And in addition to that, we also added some windows overlooking some extra geometry here too. So there's this. Again, here's one of the bathrooms. Here's another bathroom. There's this, which I showed before. That's overlooking something. Another part of the map over there. And then finally, one of the most fun things here is looking at this. Alright, so that is Lab 17. So the next thing I'm going to show is Lab 16. So I know it's a little confusing, but the even-numbered ones are the ones that have the same texturing as Lab 14. So Lab 14 and 16 are a pair, and Lab 15 and 17 are kind of a pair. That's just how I conceived of it. So all this stuff over here is as it is in Lab 14, the original map. And then the extra geometry is over here, so it's in the same style as if Rebellion were to make this map. And I don't think we even added a single new texture for this. I think we just used everything that they had. And by the way, the alien has some cool vent usage possibilities. The Predator can too. So you can see there's like some stuff over here you can get into if you can spear jump that. And then this connects over here. Connects over here. So this connects this sort of bridges that the two halves together. So you could just be like this. But over here you get into the intersection. And if you look, hey, this side looks just like this side, which is as it's supposed to. Alright. So that takes care of that. Alright. The next map is Statue 2, and I remember when I told Cracco my idea for this map. It was Statue 2 facing statues. And so that's exactly what we have over here. We basically have just the map statue reflected on itself. So there's this. There's that. This is, of course, that middle section over here, and this is where the wall would be, right? This is where the Predator orb is. And normally there'd be like a wall over here, but now it's functioning as the middle. There's another catwalk section over here functioning as a bridge. And there had to be some stuff cut out because I think things loop around a little oddly, but there is a new section over here which is the exact mirror of the original, which was like that. So you can explore for yourself what's the same, what's different about it. This wasn't as easy as just copying and pasting and just having it all work, of course. This was a lot of work to get it to look the same, to get it to feel the same, to get it to all display properly and look like it all matches. So anyway, this is kind of like in the vein of some, in the late 90s there was kind of this trend of doing like a Facing Worlds 2 or something 2, right? Now I know Facing Worlds 2 isn't just, the same map but reflected on itself. But, there was like that trend of doing like this thing too, right? Well, we'll just do a different version of it. Kind of like in that thing. There's no like Statue 2, Subway 2, anything like that. So anyway, I thought it was kind of a neat idea to explore. So anyway, we'll move on to the next one. All right, the next map is it's an idea that I had. This is a totally original concept, not a port of anything. The idea was to create a map out of the section of temple that was just the alien statue. That eventually became a more complex idea, and it became a very small, relatively speaking, a pretty small arena, very open, very vertical, and we've got 4 different statues. The alien, the facehugger across from that, and then 2 predator statues across from that. As you saw, there's an upper section over here which only the alien can spawn in. Sort of like statue, actually almost exactly like statue, and dropping you down like this. And then in all of these, there's a kind of subway-esque staircase segment there that takes you around and around to a pickup here and there. There's stuff for the Marine to grab. And in case you're wondering, yes, this is very much like the temple facehugger, and there's some goodies in there for the Marine. But that's not everything. There's actually side passages over here as well, so there is corridor combat that's possible too. And I think this might have been where I did a little bit of creative I think there was some creativity with the hive texture used over here. I don't remember exactly where it was. I think one of those textures isn't stock. I think it was like right here. I think it's on this tile. The mosaic over here didn't have like a hive encroaching on the tile. I think maybe on the stone too. So yeah, I did some work on that, and then of course there's some handy pickups over there, and these vents are colored differently. If I got into every little detail on this, I'd be here all day. So let's move on to the next one. All right, the next map is Oblivion, which is another port of an Unreal Tournament map, and this is one that I had an idea for. I thought it would be easy to do. Turned out to not be really that easy. It was kind of complex with the lighting, but it was really, the end result was really fun. I really like this. There's some fighter jets over there. It was kind of, like I said, it was kind of complicated to do. But the matches that I've had on this are just really fun. Just like in Unreal Tournament, this is a very compact, intimate setting, very, very, very close quarters. So the longest range really you have is just like these stretches, which are still pretty close. Great for grenade fights. It's just a Marine's paradise over here. So I hope the people will have a lot of fun. It puts predators on their toes. Really forces you to have to duck and dodge and react quickly. So it's been very fun to do these. And as you can see, there's some Unreal Tournament models here, which break like this. So, all right, on to the next one. So the next map is a port of the AvP2 map Auriga, and I really like this map in AvP2. Obviously, you go through it a lot faster in AvP Classic because you're just so much faster. These are ladders that will take you up here. This took a long time to get looking right. So, I'm not going to get into all the details here, but all these little lighting effects, yeah, that took a long, long time. A lot of work went into doing that. I mean, a lot of tedious work went into making this look correct. And we've got some of these kind of flashing like this. We've got grates over here. We're over here. We're in this room. Just makes sense to put the predator orb up on top of this. You can jump through the chains just like you can in AvP2. And oh yeah, I want to show the upper area here too. Some more flashing lights over there. getting into the grate over here. This is just completely dark. And as you can see, it takes you up to the top level of this room. And then this leads us to the room that has the Betty. And just recently I improved the texturing on the Betty by getting the exact model with the texturing correct. So I placed that in here for this for an update to the map. Very small update. All it is just the Betty is textured a little better. And yeah, other than that, it just is very similar to the map from AvP 2. It's just going to be faster because it doesn't take you quite as long. So if I didn't get caught on that little outcrop on the wall, you can see how long it takes to actually get from one side to the other. Very fast. Yep. And yes, you can climb on this. You can get on top of this here. You can climb on the walls over there too, but the floor is an instant death pit, so you don't want to really fall off. Alright. Okay, the next map that I'm showing off is Legend, which is a collaboration between myself, Cracco, and a friend of mine named Kinesio, who designed the map in Hammer, which is the Source engine editor. Source is the engine for Half-Life 2 and Half-Life 2 related games. And he made the map in Source. He textured it in the AvP editor. It is, as you can see, kind of the subterranean Mesoamerican temple of not really defined origin, using some stock sound effects. Lots of different rooms, staircases connecting them, and then there are different levels and different tiers and things like that. There's a nice vent that everyone can access. Drop over into here. It connects over to this room. It's kind of a combination of a map-like statue and a map-like fleshbox, because in fleshbox you have two big arenas that you fight through. The one with the heart and one with a bunch of pits. And this is like the heart of the map. As you can see, it's two interlocking chains or links connected like that. Over there you can see the sky. This is kind of like sort of a grate that's obscured by some leaves. You can just barely make out the sky up above. So we take it. This is a really great area for open area combat. This took a long time to make. This took a very, very, very long time to get looking right. I haven't even shown you all the areas of the map yet. There's this area with the torch lighting this up over here. There's an area over here which is lit by green flames, which connects to that vent area that I mentioned before. So as I said before, this is kind of like a mix of statue and fleshbox. Statue because of the staircases that take you off in different directions, kind of in a noodly way, but in a logical way too. And fleshbox by virtue of the fact that it's kind of like two centralized large open areas. Alright. So the next map that I'm going to show is actually one that was by RhapsodyInGeek, which is a remake of one of his maps from a long time ago. Probably 20 years ago. I don't want to say because I don't know when he made it, but I would say it's about from then. The original map was called Desert Storm, and this map is Desert Requiem. So now that he has more mapping chops, he decided to come back and make this map for us. This is entirely by him. He made it almost entirely in Blender. And it's really cool. It's got, as you can see, a marine base. It's got a big desert area. It's got this sort of cave section, which reminds me of the the caves in an AvP 2010 map. I don't remember what it is. Maybe it's Gateway. And then we have a Predator section. This is like a temple of some sort. The door over here. And as I said before, he made this map entirely in Blender, which is very impressive. So we'll have one map made in Source, one map made in Blender. So as you can see, we are getting the tools across to people who don't need or can't use 3D Studio Max, which is typically what we've been using. But as you can see, it's not necessary because you can make a map entirely without it. I think this takes you to the higher level of that. This is a fun map. RhapsodyInGeek said himself that he likes the species deathmatch game type. So this really benefits that because the Marines are going to spawn in the Marine section, the aliens will spawn in the Alien section, and the Predators will spawn in the Predator section. So it really benefits each species, although, you know, every species can access every other part. So I'm not going to show everything here. That's how we access those. Alright, so next one that I'm going to show is a map that is coming out tomorrow. So let's jump right into that. Alright, so this is a map that hasn't actually been released yet. It is coming out tomorrow. So by the time you see this video, it will be out. This is AvP2 Reservoir. So this is another port of an AvP2 map. And it is, I believe, the smallest map, but it has some of the coolest lighting effects. And I'm really glad with how this turned out. So in the AvP2 map, this is a glowing water space. And here it is glowing in AvP Classic. There are these grates that you go through over here too. If you don't have night vision on or navigation mode on, it's very, very hard to see. But yeah, it's super dark. A lot of the combat is going to be probably taking place over in this area over here, with a lot of kills around corners like this. So it's going to be very fun for the Marine and Predator, and maybe a bit difficult for the Alien. But who knows? We'll have to see. Alright, so that basically concludes all of the finished maps that we have. But if you made this far, I'm going to show you a preview of a map that we are currently working on, and I have no guarantees about when it is going to come out, or even if it's going to come out next, but let's go dive in and take a look at the next map that we have on the list of previews. Alright, so this map is, as you can see, AvP2 Quarantine. So another AvP2 map. We've got the models for the aliens in here. Actually, the whole map is textured. We have the grates working. We have ladders in. For this, we've got these over here. Let me climb up. And we got this lower section looking pretty good, hopefully. This glass you can walk through. And yeah, one of the main things about this map is that that is a dead end, which is a total death trap for aliens. Okay, and then got this upper section here, which is connected down below through these ladders over here. So just to drop down. Connects over to this section over here. Oh, I'll just go through that Alright, so the hard part of this map is already done. Oh, well, that's kind of arguable. I think the least favorite thing I like to do about the map is to set the lighting. So obviously everything's too bright in this map. Lighting is the last thing that we do, essentially. I mean, we need sounds, a soundscape in here too, but that's not going to take very long, I don't think. You can see there's like little sections over there too. And here as well. I've already shown this. Oh, that was a mistake, so I have to fix that at some point. Okay, so anyway, this is just a sneak peek at one of the newest maps that we are going to be doing, and I will also show one last little preview of a map as well, since I have it kind of in a showcase mode. Now, I can't show much of this map, but what I can show of this map, which is AvP2's Bunker, I can show this main section, which is kind of my favorite section of this map, honestly. If you don't like the way this looks right now, you think it's too blue, don't worry. The lighting is only temporary. It's I think I kind of like it, honestly, but I know that it's gonna have to be scaled in a little bit. So this section is all I can really show off here. This map's not done yet. I think this section is textured. So we got this. As you can see, the lighting doesn't really bounce off all the walls correctly, but things are shaping up with this map. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to just take some time to walk through some of the maps that we did this year in case you weren't keeping up, and wanted to just see a quick catch up of all the modding work that we were doing. This isn't even close to all the modding work we did this year, but all the new custom maps that released in 2024. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.